don't think they're involved as much as they can be. I think they're, in most war-torn societies, probably all war-torn societies, women are majority of the population. And so when we look at decision-making structures and we see a preponderance, if not a vast majority of men, we can see that women don't have the voice that they need. That having been said, I think we're making progress. This year we'll celebrate the 10th anniversary of what's called UN Security Council Resolution 1325, which sounds like a lot of jargon for the people who are listening. But essentially it was a call by the United Nations member states to get women involved in peace building. And it said you must bring these women into the conversation. And we work very hard to do that. So a couple of concrete examples. When there are donor conferences, which are the conferences set up to say how can we help these war-torn societies rebuild, we are going to dedicate resources to helping these countries recover. We've organized what are called gender symposia, where we bring women to that dialogue and have them speak to the decision makers and say, these are our priorities. This is how we see the needs of society. And I think that that's had a very important impact where it's occurred, and I would like to see that occurring regularly. We also work with the United Nations and bring women to the United Nations on the sides of actual peace negotiations. So in the case of the Uganda negotiations, we brought the few women who were on the negotiating teams, the women who were there as observers who were members of parliament or representatives of civil society, of non-governmental organizations. We brought those women together and said, what do you want inserted into the negotiation, into these talks? And the women went back and they said things like, what we want is additional resources for the education and retraining of former soldiers. We don't want these soldiers to be left without jobs and without resources, because then that will lead to violence again. They said, we want recognition that if you have a ceasefire, it also means no sexual violence, that it doesn't just mean putting down guns. These were very significant changes in the way those talks were held, and they resulted in a substantively different agreement. And I think what that means is it would make a difference if women were there regularly. So yes, we try heartily to put these women, to connect these women with officials in the United Nations, with officials in the U.S. government, officials in other multilateral and bilateral negotiations, so other important organizations that are making the decisions, to say these women have something to say. It is in your interest as a decision maker to hear what they have to say and to involve them in that discussion.